Oh man. Okay, let's just start real quick. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Broadcast Brothers. I'm Justin Faisongo, and this is Jonah Holava. And it's been a couple. I'm going to talk to this camera just for a second before we start. It's been a couple of weeks, and I apologize about not getting content out, but Joe and I have had life things going on that we've been handling: doctor's appointments, traveling, moving. You name it. A lot of stuff.
Trips across the Pacific.
Yeah. Which is what we're going to talk about a little bit today. You can look into that camera if you want, but while we're talking, it's easy just to cross over. Anyways, thanks, guys, and we're going to get to the episode. So, Joe, tell me, Japan. You just spent a couple weeks there, or like 10 days or something there, yeah? And you went out there for vacation, but you went out there also to do a race. Yeah,
it was one of those. We went there for Mallory, my wife's birthday. Mm-hmm. And there just so happened to be a canoe race.
Yeah.
Coincidentally.
Yeah, coincidentally. Does Mallory know that every birthday she has from now on is going to be somewhere where there's a race?
No, that's definitely not the expectation. But it was one of those. The idea. She's like, oh, here we go again, taking another trip for a canoe race. I was like, no, like this one's different.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you said that the last one, this is different. I was like, I don't know. No, this is, I have a good
This is vacation
feeling.
with some paddling there in the middle of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually more, it was kind of, it was in the middle. I thought it was going to be more in the beginning, but it was definitely kind of right in the middle.
Yeah.
And it was a great trip, Japan is incredible. Mm-hmm. Just from getting there, I used to live in, I lived in the city for a year. I lived in San Francisco for years, as you know. And Mallory's, she's lived in New York. And so we've loved.
You guys have that big city vibe.
Yeah.
You like it.
We like that. Yeah. Just the energy, and I made canoe paddling work for me living in a big city. Mm-hmm. Right. And, but going to a place like Tokyo was just, it's a well-oiled machine. Yeah. From the train rides, just the flow on everything. And, it's, I don't know if, it's like one of the biggest cities in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And it feels that way, but it doesn't feel, it just doesn't feel like, it's chaos.
Yeah.
There's just an interesting energy to it. And so I was definitely drawn to that. We were drawn to that.
Yeah.
And, growing up in Hawaii, there's a lot of Japanese influence, like with food, and, I grew up with a lot of Japanese kids, and so it was really neat to get that firsthand authentic experience, just with food and people, and so I was just blown away.
How was it in the big city in Tokyo with the language barrier? Was a lot of people there speak English, or did you find a lot, or is it?
Yeah, it was like hit or miss. But I think it's ethics. Not ethics. What is the word I'm trying to? Etiquette. Etiquette is very big there, right? So it's like, I think it's kind of how you talk to people, right?
Yeah.
And that will, even though you can't quite, speak their language, but you can still communicate.
Yeah.
If you kind of, kind of get into the etiquette of it.
Yeah.
And like they'll kind of slow it down, and they're like, oh, kind of figure out what you need.
Try and work with you on it. Yeah. I found when I traveled to Italy, and I was in Europe for a little bit, when I was in Italy, I learned this lesson really fast, that if you walk into a shop or you go somewhere and you just walk in like an American, like, hey, blah, 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 what's this, what's that, how do I do this, how do I do that, people just won't entertain it. But if you say just a couple greetings in Italian or whatever language you're in, mostly, if you start that and then just try, like, how can I, and you just try and communicate it, it's like, oh yeah, no, I speak English, a little bit of English. Oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But if you don't try, it's like, nah.
Don't you think it's kind of the same a lot of different cultures.
Yeah.
I mean, even
Samoa,
like,
same way.
some Hawaiian
Yeah.
too, right? Like
Yeah.
I told Mallory, right, my blonde-haired, blue-eyed
Right.
wife, like, hey, with family and friends, as long as you kind of just put initiative, like, like try to pronounce a word, and if you cannot, like, they'll help you.
Yeah.
And at least they know that you've kind of put the energy into.
It's a little bit of respect. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And etiquette, like you said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, so there's definitely, and I also forgot to mention that, like, right out of high school, so I worked plenty jobs, growing up, like in high school, right out of high school, before the Coast Guard. My friend Kainoa got me a job. We both worked a dinner cruise. I was actually telling Tim Ono and Hisano this story, but I worked a dinner cruise for Japanese tourists.
Yeah.
On it was on the Star of Honolulu, like this dinner cruise that left the Honolulu harbor, and they would teach you kind of just generic, basic phrases, Japanese phrases, like that are useful, like, and so I kind of had some of that, but like there was like super helpful words, like, excuse me is like sumimasen, and I was telling Mallory, like, when you're talking to someone, if you cannot understand them, the common thing to say is huh, like,
right.
Huh, what,
right,
what, huh, or and instead of saying that, you kind of substitute it for like height, but hi can mean like I understand, or hi, like I'm just kind of saying like
I acknowledge.
Just acknowledging.
Right.
Exactly. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of got into that habit of height, or like, they give you something, there's an exchange, or like, it's like, and so yeah, there's just the language barrier. Yeah, it wasn't that challenging, like, as maybe it kind of seems from the outside.
How was it? How was it traveling in the rural part of the country with Hisano and Tim? And obviously, Hisano, she speaks Okinawan Japanese, English very clearly, and so she she talks 100 miles an hour all the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure there was a lot of help when that happened.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought them up, because I can't. I was trying to imagine our trip any other way without, because, like, we all knew we were going, like, and
you were last minute.
I was super last minute, and you had ideas
early
of going.
Committed. Yeah, I wanted to, like, in January. I was talking about it,
and but honestly, like them, like, having Hisano, just I can't tell you how grateful I am. We are, Mallory and I, for, just, basically hitching the wagon to, to their,
well, that's been her intent since the get-go. She asked everybody.
Totally, yeah.
Like, hey, you want to go to Japan to race? You want to go to Japan to race? She asked everybody.
Yeah.
And her intention was to not only go there to race, but her intention was to take people to show them the culture and the place, and
absolutely,
make them comfortable. Yeah, so she's like that anyway.
Hisano, like, kind of thank you so much. That I just, I was trying to imagine it, because talking to Kenny, he was like, oh well, like, it is kind of a long train ride, and like maybe we can find someone to pick you up in whatever the train station is. Mm-hmm. But so we met up. So we were. Hisano was staying in like Kawasaki, which is like kind of right on the outskirts of Tokyo, right? And we were kind of in the thick of Tokyo,
you were in the whole of it.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And so we caught a train to Kawasaki and met.
Brother, is that far?
No, no, not at all. Okay, yeah, it was like, far in the sense, like, was like a 25 to 34 minute kind of endeavor. Yeah, but doesn't feel that that long. Mm-hmm. And but I'm just trying to imagine it, like, if we caught it from where we were staying all the way down to the race site, because we caught the train to Kawasaki. We met up with them, and she had a van, right? Because her brother set her up. Yeah, and that's another, like, speaking of, like, kind of attaching our wagon, to the Hisano expedition through Japan.
It's like Dora the Explorer, but
yeah, I have a hard time imagining it any other way. Like that was just so helpful. Like she was like, all right, we're gonna go to Costco. I was like, wait, we're going on a Costco run? Like, she's like, yeah, because like we're staying in Shimoda, and I don't know what the store situation. It's a small kind of beach town, and so I don't know, but so we might as well just go to Costco, stock up, case, right? Yeah. So we did, and brought out this Costco.
Yeah, I saw your video clips.
On a whole nother level. Like sushi platter. Like we're talking like feeds like 3 people or 1 Justin, you know. It was just, I mean, a sushi platter like this, you know, like size of like a large size pizza was something like $15.
Oh my God.
That was our road trip food. Oh. We had it like in the van, like just kind of, you know, as our, you know, so after our Costco run, you know, it was like another like 2 hours and 45-minute drive.
Oh, wow.
To Shimoda, where we're staying.
Yeah.
And and I also forgot to mention at Costco, I got a taco leg, a barbecue seared taco leg that was like 2 feet long.
Okay.
And it was in a vacuum bag. And Mallory's like, "What are you gonna do?" I was like, well, more on that later. But I was like, it just looks so good. I was like, I know that's gonna taste really good. I want it. You know? So we threw that in the wagon too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, it was like a 2-hour, 45-minute drive to where we're staying, and you've been to Northern California, right? So imagine, and this is kind of how what was interesting was going into the trip. I was like, I feel like it's kind of like Marin, you know, like Northern California, like the way Kenny kind of broke down the conditions, like the water, like heavy currents.
It's interesting you say that because even in the pictures, like the shoreline looks really rugged shoreline. It's not a lot of like, it's not like Huntington Beach or Newport Beach.
No.
You see all that sand and everything, right? So
so like
there's terrain to it.
Totally. For our Northern California paddlers, you know, who might be interested in doing this race, it's very similar. Like if you're leaving the Golden Gate Bridge and you're just heading north.
Head north, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like big sea cliffs, like, and but the drive was very similar to that.
Oh,
just kind of like windy, kind of switchback.
Yep.
Kind of like you're driving up to like Stinson or Point Reyes, and so that's why it kind of took a while to get there. And we got to this one. Well, before we got to that one, I got to tell you, that was the first time we saw Fuji.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
And what was really cool was I'm in the back seat, and do you remember the movie, the Star Wars movie? What's that one where they're like mining? I can't think of the movie. It was like the Rebellion movie.
Yeah, but
I can't think of the name of it right
Solo.
now. No, but like the Solo movie where it was just kind of like an off kind of story.
Yeah.
I'm like letting my Star Wars fandom down right now. Shit, what is that movie called? But anyway, throughout that movie, they would have like one of the ships kind of off in the distance, and it looked very ghost-like.
Okay.
So and when we're driving on our way to Shimoda, I saw food. I thought I was seeing things. I was like, and it just appeared like Mount. It was very ghost, like very faint.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mount Fuji, and of course like we kind of hit like a switchback or something like that, and everyone was like, no, that's not. You know, he saw, and I was like, that's not Mount Fuji. He was like, no, like I think I saw Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
And it kind of, we couldn't see it. It was very elusive. And I've heard stories. It's like you don't see Mount Fuji all the time because of like, you know, if it's an overcast day weather conditions, like air quality, blah, blah, blah. And so maybe like 5 minutes later, we saw it, like, and they were like, holy shit. And it's just like, so that was part of the drive too, is kind of every so often seeing Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop looking at it.
Yeah, it's such a. I've never seen it, but I can imagine. I've seen pictures of it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I imagine like when you see Mount Rainier or Mount Hood.
What Rainier is to Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Fuji is to Tokyo.
Yep.
and it's funny because I think Rainier is actually taller technically. We even looked it up too. Like I was like, hey, it looks like there's something because it's so pronounced in shape.
Right.
It looks taller
Very
than
volcanic.
Yeah. But Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa are still taller than Fuji above sea level.
Wow.
Like but yeah, it was just that was really cool. That's kind of how the drive kind of started, was seeing Mount Fuji, and it's so
That's
elusive.
cool.
It's very ghost-like. It's like whoa, and then you kind of get to like the Marin-looking roads. There's a lot of switchbacks. You're not going very fast, but then we came up on this one road that was like a Hot Wheels track. It's like this spiral that goes down a cliff.
Oh, I saw your clip, or maybe Sandro took a
yeah.
one of you guys did.
And it was one of those like, what?
Yeah.
Some Japanese engineering, man. It's like, I've never seen anything like. So it's just a lot of like
It's like the train track in Tehachapi, if you've ever seen that.
Oh, okay.
It's a giant spiral like this,
Yeah.
like a helix. And
Okay.
that's the only way for them to maintain a pitch of a grade where the train can actually climb it.
Yeah.
In order to get up into the Sierra and then into
Okay.
Bakersfield from down here. It's the only way to do it.
Okay.
Anyways.
But yeah, so it was just the drive was beautiful, even though it was kind of long.
I'm good at minutia.
I don't even know what a minutia is.
It's like knowing stupid shit.
Oh, okay.
I know
Minutia?
It's minutia, like just a lot of nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
You've never heard the phrase master of minutia?
No.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, anyway.
Obviously, I'm not a minutia.
No. No.
More of a militia.
Militia?
Yeah. But yeah, so we got there. This was like the day before the race. And then, but yeah, it was pretty cool to go to the whole, it's not just the race. Like, so I guess now we're kind of talking about like the race.
Yeah, well, let's get to the Paina and you can start there. Yeah,
yeah, and I think that was kind of the beauty of the Japanese, the VA Japan National Championships. It's not just the race that's beautiful. It's kind of the entire experience with the people, and like the pre-race Paina, the race, and then like the post-race event. And but yeah, so we got there. It was like afternoon time. We kind of
So I'm sorry, we should have got ahead too much, but you guys arrived there a couple days before the race, or a day, or 2 days before the race? 1 night, 2 nights. You were there.
In Japan, we got there like the Wednesday before.
No, but when you guys got to Shimoda.
Oh, it was like the day before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you only spent 1 night in Shimoda, or 2 nights?
2 nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, we got there. Yeah, no, I take that back. So that's how it was such an epic trip that I was like.
Lost count of days.
Yeah, lost. Yeah. We got there 2 days before the race.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got there 2 days before the race, we did our pre-race packet pickup, and then the next day we ended up going to. Hisano found this kind of like a. What are those? I can't use my words all of a sudden. I mean, like I got vacation brain.
You just got back on Friday, right?
Yeah.
Or, Friday. Yesterday.
What's the
no jet lag?
gazebo?
Right now? You're not feeling.
I don't know. I paddled this morning, so that was good.
You probably worked it out.
What's the? It's kind of like when you're going on a ski lift.
Yeah.
It's like a gazebo. No.
Oh, gondola.
Gondola. Yeah, gondola.
Yeah.
So there's this place. I think it's part of a national park. So it was like an hour and change drive from Shimoda to go look at Fuji.
Okay.
So you take this like gondola up, and we lucked out because it was like bluebird clear day.
Yeah.
And we could definitely see Fuji on the way there.
Yeah.
We're like, there it is.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just so like we got this like love affair with that mountain, man. It was just like I just
the mountain's called, Joe.
Could not stop staring at it.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, we did that the day before the race, and then later that night was the pre-race Paina, where we picked up our race packet, like our race jerseys, and which I actually forgot in my hotel.
Your race jersey?
Yeah.
No.
I forgot it in our hotel in Kyoto.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of vacation brain.
Yep.
So so we had the pre-race paina, and it was so what's great about this event and what's great about paddling in Japan, what I've gathered, it's very similar like Northern California paddling. It's smaller, kind of tight-knit group. Kenny Kaneko, he's not just a competitor, he's the organizer, right? So he's like, he's doing everything. He's wearing a lot of hats.
Race holes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it was nice to
he's Kellen Will in one person, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. That's funny. And so we had our pre-race paina, and it's like, and what was funny about it was on the email they're like, "Hey, bring your own utensils."
Really?
And a plate, and we're like, "Okay." So
like, you guys pull some from the hotel or from the
we
the
bought
Airbnb?
some. No, we bought some at like that was another thing I forgot to mention, like 7-Elevens, like 7-Elevens, and like they have like there's like 3 stores. There's 7-Eleven, Friendly Mart, and Lawson's. They're like convenience stores.
It's legit 7-Eleven, the company,
legit.
the franchise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny, and I just learned this when I was there. I don't know who told me. I think Hisano might have told me, or another Japanese local. But so I grew up with 7-Eleven, like just getting musubis and just random food, right?
Right.
Do you know that the 7-Elevens in Hawaii are owned by the Japanese?
I don't know. I did not know that.
Yeah. And then the 7-Elevens here are not, obviously. Like, you can't. So the food selection at these 7-Elevens are just off the chain.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
so no spinning hot dogs?
Hell no. Yeah. Yeah. None of that. Like, we're talking like chicken karage.
Really?
Yeah. We're going on a 7-Eleven, Lawson's, Friendly Mart kind of tangent here, but so that was really cool. It was like the food options from these places. So anyway, but that's where we got our like utensils from a Lawson's. So like 7-Eleven, there's 7-Eleven, Lawson's, and Friendly Mart. That's kind of the 3-headed monster with convenience stores. And you get everything there, like, alcohol, just candy, just Pokemon cards. I don't know,
and legit food.
And legit food, yeah. And but yeah, that's kind of what
the
we
gas stations too, or just convenience store.
Gas stations are separate, yeah, and it's like Oregon; they pump your gas for you. So, yeah, but that's where we got our utensils.
Okay.
So we go to the pre-race paina, and we what was great was there was a big in Shimoda. There was a big like they call it the Black Ship Festival.
Okay.
And it's where the Japanese Army and the Navy, U.S. Navy, they celebrate the peace, like post World War II.
Yeah. And do they do it on the day that the armistice was signed or the treaty was signed?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it was a pretty big event, and this was happening the same weekend. Really? Yeah. And that's another thing about and it makes sense why the currents are so strong there. There's a lot of ports, like full on like harbor, like
natural ports.
Yeah, and it's just like cute little like fishing like harbors, and like so there's a lot of like I guess outlets, and it's just kind of like cliff coastline. But so that was going on the same weekend. So we get to the pre-race paina, and the mayor of Shimoda is at the pre-race paina. I'm thinking like, I was kind of nudged Kenny. I was like, bro,
nice
how's
power
that,
move.
how's
That's
that, bro? Like
power move, bro. Yeah.
Like you got the mayor here, and like there's this big festival going on. Like that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
And he's wearing the jersey and everything like that. And what was great was it's so formal, like it's like informally formal. Like they're all hanging out on like so imagine your table times 20. like just this long table, and everyone's just sitting at the table, just talking story. And then they would have like random people on the microphone, just kind of talking, you know, and in Japanese, of course, can't understand. And but everyone listens. And so Kenny and I were kind of like, and he's like, it's kind of funny how everyone listens, right? I'm like, yeah, it's just like undivided attention, you know. It's just like
it's the respect,
just eating, you know.
Yeah.
And like so, like you get there and they just it's like potluck style, you know, like, well, they provided the food, but it was like bring BYOU, bring your own utensils.
Yeah.
And
so you just hand them the plate and they just
and they just load your plate up and you sit. Then, you know, like, and what was great was Kenny guys was like, hey, just come sit over here. And like, so they put us like in the front, you know, we're sitting next to like them, and just like the mayor is there. It's like, and it was just really cool to hear, even though we couldn't fully understand them, but like, you know, I from what I gathered, it was like all the people that had helping hands in the event, and, you know, just
said their thanks. And
and this, you know, this is kind of their big race, the end of the year, right? So like, I think I'm sure they're, you know, giving shout outs to people and whatnot. And,
so it's like a Samoan wedding or funeral. It's the same thing.
Interesting.
People just go up and talk.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just it was just so authentic, you know. It was just like real, like this doesn't feel like a canoe race. It just feels like a festival, like just a celebration. Bruce is chewing on that bone down there. You're clanking the floor. Right.
It's okay.
But then so I was like, hey Kenny, like I got this taco leg I brought. He's like, what? So I busted out this vacuum bag. He's like, oh shit. It's like, I know you're supposed to bring your own utensils, but do you have like a knife? So he sets me up with like a knife and a chopping board.
Yeah.
And so I'm like sashimiing this taco leg, and it was funny because like Mallory was like, before, you know, we're heading to the party, she's like, you just gonna bring that? I was like, yeah, like, you know, we got to bring a gift, you know, you got to like you got to contribute to the, you know. I'm not just gonna bring my utensils. It just feels weird bringing your utensils, you know. Like I got to bring something.
That's
you know?
Hawaiiana for you.
And so I, you know, I started sashimi. The taco went, it like disappeared.
Yeah.
It was like everyone was into it, and I was like, well, if like, you know, if this might be this either this, like, I hope no one gets sick from the, you know, this or you
it was
know,
already pre-cooked.
it was seared, so it was kind of like but you know, that's the thing, like, you know, you're in Japan, like I never got sick once.
Yeah. You're pretty safe.
Yeah, you hear stories of when you go to like Thailand, people getting sick, or Indonesia, right?
Yep.
But yeah, so that was really cool to bring the taco leg to. I think I have some footage of. Hopefully, we can get it on the.
I'll pull it. Yep.
Yeah, because like that was a hit.
I'll drop it in on the deal. Yeah.
And speaking of hits, the broadcast brought us hats.
Yeah.
Telling you, bruh. Like, so
I don't, because I don't want to like ruin the story or whatever, but I saw the pictures, and I just have to say, you know, from an aspect of representing the broadcast brothers, you definitely went over the top, man. It just looked like everyone was just so stoked on it.
Yeah, it was.
And then there was a video clips of them trying to say broadcast brothers, like you have a
it was so good. Blood Christy brothers.
Anyways, so that was a hit then, huh?
So there was also a raffle, right?
Okay.
Going on.
So Kenny raffled some of them
during the pre-race, you know.
Cool.
And
so I saw a lot of pictures with them, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And
it was just like, I don't know, it was so special, you know. I mean, broadcast brought us aside, you know. It was just special to be there. It was just it was just nice to see just the stoke of paddling, right? Even though like you couldn't understand anything,
you could tell in the pictures, and I'll put some of them up because I have a bunch of Instagram clip grabs that I took. Because I thought we were going to try and do a live thing, so I tried to do that, but I just knew it was going to, time frame was going to be too much. Yeah. But the pure joy on these guys' faces, it's like unreal. It's like the essence of paddling that a lot of is lost, you know? It's like
it was
just embody it, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like.
You think it's because the Japanese culture that integrates that, so it's like kind of a mix of all of that, or do you feel like they take the, you know, like the true joy of paddling and being on the water and getting together and having food and, like, you know, the embrace the adaptation of the Hawaiian culture into what they do?
Yeah, like Kenny, like when we're talking to Kenny, right? Like how he instills that. I mean, yeah, perhaps, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's kind of a loaded question, but
you know, like seeing the, you know, before and after the race, right? Like just sitting on the train and and this is like back to the whole city living kind of, like why I loved living in the city, and it's just the people watching, just because it's a melting pot of people, even though it's all Japanese people in Tokyo, but just kind of, you see people on the train and you could just tell like they're just exhausted, you know, like they're just, everyone's like sleeping. It's a quiet time on the train. And I kind of like to think that, you know, the Japanese people are very hardworking, you know, right? And paddling, and like it is for us here or anywhere, it's your release, it's your outlet. And, but I think when you attach a culture to it, because they're already cultured.
Yeah, very regimented culture.
Yeah. And there's just, I don't know, there's just a beautiful alignment with it. And so it's like something that they do in their free time, from their crazy, you know, I mean, a lot of them like drove like 4 or 5 hours to get to this race.
Really?
You know what I mean? So it's like, and some of them came just to do the short course.
Really?
Like, so Tetsuya, shout out Tetsuya.
He friended me and I messaged him a little bit.
Talk about stoked.
Yeah.
So Tetsuya is the gentleman that let me borrow his Volare for the race. And that guy was just, you know, he's still, I think he mentioned he's been paddling outrigger for I think a little over a year.
Okay.
But he, you know, he kind of started out doing stand up, and but yeah, so he just hearing how, even though I don't fully understand him.
Right.
Apologies.
Yeah.
But like you could just tell he just loves paddling, you know, and like what it's doing for him.
So I'll read. I don't even know this guy, right?
Yeah.
He just messaged me on Instagram.
Okay.
And so he messaged me and he says, "My name is Tetsuya Sato. Nice to meet you." And I said, so I just messaged back. I said, "Hello, Tetsuya. Thank you for showing my friends a great time for the race in Japan. My broadcast brother Joe, Hisano, and Tim all had a great time."
Yeah.
So he messages back. He goes, "Hello, Justin. I'm very happy to have met and spent time with them. I'm glad to have Joe. I'm glad to have met Joe. He's a nice guy. I'm glad he took part in the race in my canoe. Everyone who paddled in the race had a good race. Feeling very happy I was able to meet everybody. I look forward to continuing being your friend."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Friend for life now.
Yeah, brother. He's a brother for sure.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just like you said, just the pure stoke, even though you know, there's a language barrier.
Right.
You could just tell that they love paddling.
Right.
And Kenny's got a good thing going.
That's good.
You know,
I'm happy to hear that.
The race is, I think that race is just going to keep growing, and because it's a world class course.
Can I ask this just from somebody who didn't travel there, but from a traveling standpoint, cost wise, was it a really expensive trip? You know, I mean, I know getting there probably was, you know, flight was probably expensive, and that changes and fluctuates. But
yeah, staying
there, food, eating there, logistics, like was it really hard? Was it really was it easy to do? Was it? I mean, what do you think? Because I mean, I can tell you different travels from my time. Like some countries are really hard, to deal with, and some are really easy to deal with. Like Thailand was really easy.
Yeah, Thailand. Yeah,
right. So,
super affordable.
like compared to Thailand, let's say, because I can associate that kind of.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Thailand is definitely more affordable
because your dollar goes a lot more.
Dollar goes more, although the dollar in Japan is really strong right now.
Okay, they're on the yen.
Yeah, yen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the exchange rate when we got there was like 56.
Oh, okay.
It got down to 143 though, which was interesting. When we were there, we're like, oh, time to go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, Thailand is definitely more affordable, and there's less of a language barrier. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, like I thought from a value standpoint, it was. I mean.
So I guess what I'm asking is, people who want to travel there next year, let's say, is it something that you would recommend and suggest?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do recommend though going in a caravan like we did with people that telling you Hisano was MVP.
Right.
I mean, I was just trying to imagine it other way because we didn't really have a full plan. We just had an idea, and Hisano saved the day for us. Mm-hmm. So like if you have aspirations in doing this race, if you have like a Japanese friend or someone that
speaks the language,
can speak the language, it certainly helps.
Right.
But Kenny is very accommodating.
Yeah, right.
And he's very he answers his emails and So
well, I mean, it's obvious being the ozone rep down there and everything else. Yeah. I mean, he definitely has his thing going, and he's a really good ambassador in Japan for the sport. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So highly recommend it. And we didn't even talk about the race. Right?
Yeah.
Which is beautiful.
Well, let's get into it. I mean, we're talking about everything else, right?
Yeah. I mean, and that just goes to show you just how epic of a trip it was. Because it was. And again, I didn't go there to race. I went there for my wife's birthday. Yeah. But it was just. But yeah, so the next day was the race. Kenny mentioned, so it was a 13.1. It was basically a half marathon.
Okay.
And it exactly was a half. If they say hey, the race is going to start at 11 a.m., starts at 11 a.m. Right. If they say it's going to be 13.1 miles. It's 13.1 miles. Yeah. They're so precision, from the trains to, they got a system, man, and just the attention to detail. And so they had a short course in the morning. I think it was 5 miles. And then
did you race both, or you only raced the long course?
Yeah, I just raced the long course. Where we were staying, our hotel was about 25 minutes from the race start. So the race start was actually in another town, even a smaller kind of beach town. It's Minima Izu.
Okay. And these are all small fishing towns, right?
Yeah. And it's.
I mean, by comparison, that the town you guys had the race start in, how many people would you guess that live in that little town?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the race location. It's kind of it seems like I get the sense that there's Airbnbs and kind of resorts.
Okay, so it's hard to tell. Yeah,
it's hard to tell, but I don't even know because when you think there's the population's low in Japan, turns out there's there's 10,000 people. Oh shit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in Japan.
They don't need a lot of living space, right? They
exactly.
Very efficient people.
But it's definitely a smaller town. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you told me there was only 1,500 people, I'd believe you. But
okay.
But there could be 15,000 people.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, so the race starts, and so 13.1 mile race. Kenny mentioned that it's because we were talking about rudders. I was like, hey, do you guys use surf rudders here? He's like, yeah, we use surf rudders. So it's very similar to when I used to paddle up in the bay.
Okay.
You just kept your surf rudder on.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I feel like I could have used. I could have brought my small rudder.
The sweat back, whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But last year I think had conditions.
Right.
Right. Like the finishing times were like close to like half an hour faster last year. Yeah.
On 13 miles?
Yeah.
It was holy flat. Shit, it was, that's fast. Well, difference, right? The differential.
Huge delta. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it was pretty flat to kind of their standard.
Right.
But technical, like, you know, like currents, you know, it was like I was again, I can't reiterate enough, but it was like I was back in the bay, but like outside the bay, like along the coastline up in the bay. And so, you know, he mentioned that the current, so like if you're the start of the race, what you do is you kind of go out and then you turn around a buoy. It's like, so like a mile into the race, instead of like, because Minima Izu is kind of like this big bay, and he wants us, like the course kind of took us like leaving the bay up the coast. You kind of head south, but there's like another like small harbor, and these fishing boats just come blasting out.
Really?
So he didn't want us like kind of just going across just because like these guys are just gonna
they're going
take us out.
Yep.
So he had us kind of go out and make a left turn on this buoy that was like a mile, kind of the opposite direction, and then you're kind of out of the bay.
Water.
You're in more or less open water, and so you make that right turn, and then so he mentioned that you're going against the current for the first half, and then with the wind and current on the way back, supposedly. And so the turnaround is not a buoy. You're turning around this island, and shame on me, we kind of missed the pre-race meeting. So I knew what we were doing, but I didn't have like the visuals on a map of what we're doing. And but we'll kind of get into like what the island was, and like even though it didn't really seem like an island. But so the race starts. So we're sitting before the race starts. So this is back to the etiquette.
Yeah.
Right.
Race start,
right?
Race start, yep.
Yeah. But back to like the Japanese etiquette, right? So everyone, like, I think there was like 80 people in the race.
Okay.
Everyone's just sitting, just calm,
not pushing,
no one's paddling. Super meditative. It was like
quiet.
You remember? So back to Star Wars.
Right.
Remember episode 1?
Yeah.
When Qui-Gon Jinn gets taken out by Darth Maul.
Yeah.
And there's those like ray shields.
Yes.
And then Obi-Wan's kind of starts meditating before he takes on.
While that's Darth Maul's pacing.
Yeah. That's what it felt like. Yeah. You know, it was like, should I meditate right now? Because like this is like calm before the race storm. And so you know, I don't know what time it is, right? Because I got my Garmin like ready to go, like on like GPS mode. And Kenny's like, so the person on the boat who'd be like the Billy Whitford.
Yeah, the start. Yep.
He's like talking right in Japanese, and so sweet of Kenny. And Hisano's behind me. He said 2 minutes to race start. I was like, you guys are awesome. And then like a minute later, he said 1 minute to race start. I'm like, oh yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is unreal. Like this is. It was weird. It was like it didn't feel like I was racing. It was just like
yeah, you're on vacation. You're going for a paddle in the middle of vacation.
Yeah. And so yeah, boom, the race starts, and you know, just clean. You know, like I lined up next to Kenny. No slamming. Just
no line crossing.
Yeah, and no one's like jockeying for. I need to draft this guy.
Set in the draft. Yeah,
it's like when you go to like club when you're like 19 years old, and like all the guys are trying to get behind the hot girl. You know, like there's none of that. You know, it's just like
everyone's taking their line out,
taking their line, and
wow, imagine that shit.
I know. Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, sure, I bet
it was.
No cheating.
Yeah, and no like scuffs on your canoe and and whatnot.
Right.
So, but yeah, so from the little strategy I'm good. Okay, a little bit.
A little bit more. You need to sleep good tonight. You got practice tomorrow at 7 a.m.
So, my plan, I was like, all right, like, okay, just kind of feel it out for the first 2 miles, and then kind of see where Kenny's at, and then, but definitely save some for the second half, especially if he's saying that we're going with the current and the wind could pick up, and we're going with the surf.
So you're taking a because you don't know the course. So you're taking a Tahitian strategy where you're going to let Kenny run. You'll sit on him, see what he's doing, you know, or side by side, not sit behind him.
No, yeah.
But you're going to watch him paddle, figure out where he's at.
Yeah.
And then make the decision at the time when you know what the course looks like to execute.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's an out and back, right? So like, all right, kind of have an idea. And
the return, obviously, you would know.
Yeah. And so, we hit the first mile. So I kind of kept with him for like the first mile, which was like the first turn. And then the first turn, he kind of picks it up a little bit. I was like, okay, he's a little ahead now. And then, so now I'm kind of like, okay, he mentioned the current, but I was looking at my speed. I was like, wow, we're actually moving okay, for us going up current, and I'm not working too hard. So I just kind of like stayed. And then he you could tell he wanted to go in, but he kind of stayed out with me. I was like, all right, like, okay, like maybe I'm on the right lines. And then it's like, all right, cool. And then he ends up kind of like working his way in. And then when he works his way in, he kind of takes off a little bit more. And I'm kind of thinking like, all right, well, he's still in reach because I'm saving it for the, the second half.
Yeah.
And, but then I noticed like he actually like, he makes another attack. I'm thinking like, oh, wow, okay, you know what? Like, I should start moseying my way in. And right when I realized that, like, right when I tell myself that, I start seeing third come up on me. I was like, oh, wow, okay, like, yep. Like, he came up on me, like,
yeah.
And looked at my speed. I was like, whoa, my speed really slowed down. Like, so, like, this is current time.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, all right, like, time to go in. And then
say the speed, Joe. Just say it.
What?
Just say the speed.
Oh yeah, I got down to like 4.8. Okay. I was like, what? Like, this is 4.8. Like that's what it feels like. Sluggish. Like I was back in the bay.
Yeah. Sluggish. Yeah.
So sluggish. And I was like, okay. And then when I start like, like kind of starting to think like, okay, like, bro, I remember you're racing, like, and then third place comes up on me. I was like, oh wow, like, and these guys, they did the solo like 2 weeks before,
they're in
right?
shape, yeah.
So they, they put their time in this year. I was like, okay, yep, like, okay, and then Kenny's dad comes up on. I was like, okay, I gotta make a move here. But then I also like, they use we're all using surf rudders.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's weeds. I got to take this weed out. So I stopped, back pedal, and I was like, okay, like now I'm back to normal. And then, but something tells me like, I got to kind of work my way inside. And then I see.
How old is Kenzo?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Duke, right? He goes by
yeah.
Duke.
Oh, and that's another thing. So their master's division is like 45. So you could be a 60-something-year-old master, and you're some master. Right.
Probably because there's not enough numbers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when and I know he's kind of the, he's very experienced, right?
Yeah.
And he's on a V1. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, like I need to
step it up.
Well, and it's like I'm in the wrong water. Like I made a mistake. I made my first mistake, and I need to like switch it up.
So at this point, you're what, a third of the way in the race?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
So 4 miles ish.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, closer to 5.
Okay.
Right, and then so then I was like, you know what? I think Kenny went inside. Like, I'm gonna go inside. Like, and I just punch it like super far inside.
Yeah. Point the canoe at 2 and go.
Yeah. And we're coming up on these like sea cliffs. And I'm also thinking, like, where's this island that we're turning around? Like, I don't I know we're turning around an island. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Turns out like the coastline kind of breaks into an island.
Oh, okay.
Which was like, oh, well, okay. Like, we should have sat in their pre-race meeting for that one.
Not to change the subject here, but what is the, how does when you're paddling, you know, because you obviously you train and you're in shape and all that stuff. So when you're paddling, you're able to paddle and you're able to also look around and, you know, like for me, if I'm in that, I'm just like head down going, you know?
Yeah.
But what with the backdrop, like what is that? It's just a really beautiful coastline. Like,
yeah.
You know,
I also forgot to kind of preface the race. So it was actually a rainy day.
Okay.
So the winds kind of dropped. So it was like a gloomy, rainy day, but it was still beautiful. And, but yeah, the coastline was it was like Northern California.
Really dark green colors.
Dark green colors, yeah.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah.
Black rock.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we come up on these cliffs, and turns out that was the island. Okay. That was like, we're near the turnaround. And so I was like, you know what? Shit, we're in the current. Like, I need to go way inside. So I take it aggressively at 2:00, and I'm like on the inside of everybody, but not by much. Like, we're talking like 80 to 100 meters.
But talk about you know, the speed that you were running outside at 4.8 miles an hour versus what you're seeing after you made a change.
Oh yeah, like so like I turn in and I start riding some like groundswell. Like, well, first of all, I see like, you know, Kenny's dad looking like Uncle Nappy, you know, on the inside during the Kauai World Challenge in 2007, you know, just
thumping.
Yeah. I'm like, I gotta, like, something tells me I need to be there.
Yeah.
And so I take his starboard, get in the inside of him, and I just surge. I catch these like grounders. I'm like, all right, there's 8 miles an hour.
Yeah, right.
It just keeps going. Like, okay, and then I boom, 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 boom. I just connect. And now I'm like back in second. Like, all right, there it is. Like, finally. And I'm just surf. Like, even though it doesn't look like surf.
Yeah, it's moving water.
I'm like riding it. I'm like, all right, great.
Just like you said, like the bay.
Yeah.
Ton of moving water, but not really on the surface.
Yeah. So I get it. And I was like, all right, finally, like you are racing. Like, let's go.
It's okay.
Hopefully the camera didn't move.
It's fine.
And then so there's this point, and I'm like still on the wave, and I come around the point, and I see like a handful of fishermen. And I did remember Kenny saying like, hey, yeah, there's gonna be fishermen on the course. They know that there's paddlers out there.
Yeah.
But coming up, right, I was kind of like looking at them. I was looking for lines. I didn't see any. I was like, all right, like I think I'm good. I'll just kind of stay on my line here. And then I started I see like the guy like lift his pole, and one of them like kind of casts. I was like, no, like, don't you see me right here? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then I started seeing fishing line. Like, I saw like
getting pulled
3 to 5 fishing lines, like just like a spider web, like around me. It was like Mission Impossible. You see like the laser lines. I'm like, oh shit, you know, like
start doing some flips.
Yeah,
and some
yeah.
Stuff,
And then so like stopped, and I looked behind me. And I saw my rudder, and I saw the fishing line kind of starting to move. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm like backpedaling. Yeah.
Yep.
And then so I got all tangled up.
There's gonna be video of it because you caught it. So I'll make sure I load it up and I'll edit it in.
So I got all caught up, right? And so all those guys that I passed, again, you know, they just go by me, and I'm just trying to like weave my way out of this by backpedaling, and that's not working. So I just tell the fisherman, like, I'm gonna bite it, and so I bit it, and then so I start paddling again, and there's that 4.8 miles per hour again.
You're
I'm
dragging.
Like I look back,
bait. Yeah.
I see like floaters, like you know,
you're
like
dragging bait.
Shit.
Yeah,
and I was like, bro, and part of me was like, just fuck it, just go.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, man, you got like another like yourself. 7+ miles, like, and I was like, you know what, just so I get out, and I initially try to pull it, which was dumb, and I sliced my finger.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that before the podcast. So
Yeah.
my dad had cut his middle finger right at the first knuckle on a fishing line surfing.
Mine would have been the index finger. Look
Yeah,
at that. Like right when I...
He cut it off. We were surfing at Huntington Beach Cliffs, and we were getting out, and he got it hooked and didn't realize it, and yanked his hand, and it cut. Cut the
like,
bone and everything.
Clean, like
and it was
butter.
a nylon fishing line.
Fuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really stupid. I made so many mistakes.
You don't really, it's like you think fishing line, right? You're like, oh, no problem, right?
Yeah.
But man, it's like a razor, especially when your skin's wet. It's like a razor.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So then, as this is happening, you'll probably see it on the camera, but like something like 4 paddlers just go by me.
No, I saw your IG post. There's like 4 guys that go right inside you.
I was like,
and you're off the boat trying to get it off your rudder. Yeah.
And so I'm like,
how cold is the water?
It was like our water.
Okay.
Maybe slightly warmer.
Okay.
But so kind of felt
same longitude, latitude ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But it's interesting. Not to go on another tangent, but the sun comes up at 4:30 a.m.
What?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And it goes down at like 6:45.
Oh,
so
wow.
Longer days, which is really cool.
Huh.
But yeah. So I get on, and I'm just kind of, dumbfounded. Like what the hell just happened? You know?
Right.
And so I was like, hey, you know what, bro? Like, your strategy was to go hard in the second half. Like cash it in now. Let's go. Let's see what you could do. And then so I tell that to myself, and then we're rounding what is the quote unquote island.
Did you have your heart monitor on?
I did.
Oh, you gotta send me that.
Okay,
I'll put it up so we can see what your heart rate looked like.
Yeah,
I bet it was crazy.
It was high. My average was 194. And I got up to I got up to 204.
Blood out of my brain. Oh my god.
Yeah.
204?
204, yeah.
Oh, I had hemorrhage blood out of my brain. That'd have been done deal.
But so we're going around the island, which I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is the island. So and it was pretty beautiful, even though like I'm fuming in my freaking temples.
You went scorched earth.
Went scorched earth.
Yeah,
bro.
good for you.
But what's funny, so like I'm like, I don't know, 11th place or whatever. You're going around the island and it's like single file because I can't go around other paddlers because it's like we're going in between like little like tunnels, like rock kind of valleys. And so I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna I can't do it. I'm boxed in, And so that felt like it slowed me down too. I'm like just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And so we finally get around the island, and I cannot see. I can't see Kenny's dad. I can't even see the top 5 at this point. I'm like,
really?
I couldn't even see him.
You're 6th back.
Yeah,
and
I was
so far back.
I couldn't see him. And then I was kind of listening. Okay, Kenny said that the current was going with us on the way back, so logic would tell you to go out and ride the current, right? But if I go out, I'm going to lose all that ground.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I could just beeline it. So, and it's all rocky coastline, right?
The traveling canoe came.
Bruh, this is
yeah.
Yeah. So
for anybody that doesn't know what Naholova'a means, it's the traveling canoe.
So, yeah. So I'm kind of thinking like, okay, like you're pissed off.
Yeah.
Like you have all this energy. Like, okay, now you're racing. Like, let's go. Like, and I ended up cutting like in between rocks. Like I was like Opihi man, just like along the cliffs, I was like, okay, I don't see any fishermen, but
you're bombing it.
There's a chance I could
you're taking all the chances.
Rack my rudder on some rock that I don't see, but
not my canoe. Let's go. Yeah.
Sorry, and like I was kind of already like, sorry Tetsuya in advance, can I fly Micah here to help fix his canoe? I don't know, like it's just so I'm just desperate, freaking just doing anything I could, like any surge, like okay, your heart rate's like 198, fuck it,
hammering it out,
just like boom, like I didn't see anything under like 7.5 miles an hour, just going, and then I start seeing like Kenny's dad. I start seeing people. I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, okay, what was my mile? Okay, like I think we just hit mile 8. that's when it kind of hit me. Like,
Still got time.
Okay, I still got time. It's a 13-mile race. Like, okay, it's like you gotta make your, like, it's like a quarterback or a basketball player. You can't miss anything.
Right.
That's what it felt like. Right.
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, like just.
It's like Luka hitting that 3-pointer last night.
Oh my God! Right over, freaking who's the French guy?
I don't know. Oui.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry.
But yeah. So yeah, that was. As soon as I kind of could start to see them, I was like, hey, like, time to go. And like, so I just took it mile at a time.
Right.
And I just one paddler at a time just picked them off. And luckily, like, they were
so cool.
They were kind of close. Like Kenny had a significant gap.
Yeah.
Right. I was not going to catch him. I was like, I can't even see him. But second, third, fourth, fifth, the four of them were all
pretty close,
like within a minute of each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, this is great.
Yeah. You take out one, you got them all.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I took the one, right? And I'm like to the inside of them too. And again, supposedly we're going with the current. So they're in the faster water, but it was like, bro, just fucking go faster. Like Mother Nature always wins, but just go. Like, you feel good, just take this line. And so, yeah, it was just like one at a time. And then I didn't quite catch. So Utah, what's his like Fujimura, I think his last name is. Mm-hmm. So I had flashbacks. So he actually passed me in the solo.
Oh, he did?
In 2017, 2018, like right at China Walls. Like right, like the last, like,
oh, he probably got a lucky
2 miles.
bump, huh?
Well, he was on the freaking run to pass me, and then when we got to China Walls, he got the wave and I didn't, and
that was
so he totally earned that one.
Yeah.
But I was having those flashbacks, like, oh shit, like I think I could catch him, and so I was kind of thinking like, okay, play this one right, because like I worked my ass off, right? Like I was over 190 to like. Yeah.
You're all out.
So like mentally and physically I was like fine, but like, physically I was cramping, like kind of like forearm, finger, just kind of like, but like systematically I felt like I was like ready to bang. Like this was again part of that strategy.
Yeah.
Like, like I was going to turn it on in the second half. And so then we come up on that buoy turn again. So like, all right, like that was the mile mark. So that means that that's the last mile. Mm-hmm. So I worked to catch him. Like we kind of overlapped, but I gave him the turn. So I was like right behind him on the turn. And then I was kind of like watching him paddle. I was like, ooh, I like my chances. And then so I was like, you know what? Just go now. Don't make this a all out sprint.
Right. At the finish.
Like photo finish. Like just go now. And then it worked out. And then so like I caught him like half a mile in. But yeah, it was exciting. It was like, but like I couldn't believe that I was and get this, there was still fishing line in my rudder.
No way.
Yeah.
So you dragged it.
I added that to my souvenir collection from Japan. Yeah.
God, dude.
Yeah. So
right.
Yeah, it was like scorched earth, I'm telling you. It was just like there was a lot that happened in this race. It was so cool.
It's cool how you can go to that zone, right? Mm-hmm. And it's there.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people can tap into it,
Yeah, it was one of those like two things could have happened, right? Like I could have just folded. I think one of the dogs just bit my toes.
Are they fighting?
There's a bone.
Oh. Hey, Julie, will you come grab the bone, please? Or put it.
That's probably Bruce initiating.
Put it up high so they don't. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I just got my middle toe bit. Hey.
Oh, we got a dog fight. This is the kind of stuff that happens if you don't have a studio. This is what happens.
Cocktails and Canoes have kids.
They got kids. We got dog fights. Yeah. Joe and I are like Michael Vick.
We should. Oh, we're gonna edit that one out.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Hey,
Okay.
Julie, can you recenter that camera, please, real quick? Just make sure I'm good.
It's Amigo.
I know it's Amigo. Amigo's the worst.
But yeah,
She's
so
not the worst. She's fine.
it was one of those things. Like two things could happen. It was like you could have just folded.
Right.
You know, like fuck it, I'm on vacation anyway.
Yeah.
But it was like, nah, like dude,
Yeah.
like this is a race after all. Like
you got something to.
let's go.
Yep.
You know, and and I think it happened. It was weird. It was like, you know, I don't know. There's adversity, but you know, it was just, but it was for how I mean, it was just a fun race. You know,
Yeah.
It was a beautiful course, technical. I'm glad I know where that island is now.
Yeah. For next year.
And for I'm glad I could provide any sort of insight for
Anyone that
wants to go
there.
do it. Like
Yeah.
the island is the coastline, guys. Just like it's not like you're going towards Oahu, you know.
Yeah.
So, thank you. But
It's
yeah. So
it's non-alcoholic.
oh, all right.
Is it on?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay.
But yeah, but it wasn't the race. It wasn't just the race that made it. Oh well. So then there's. Also forgot to mention the post-race festivities. So it's like they're at the beach, more prizes, right?
Wait, Joe. Wait. Take me back. Take me back to the race finish. Take me back to going to finish buoy.
Oh, okay.
Take me back.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm doing my best, Mark Schulein. I got you. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So the well, yeah. So okay. So the post-race festivities was pretty fun. It was like so we brought like something like 6 broadcast brought us hats.
Okay, yeah.
So we gave out 3 for the pre-race as like raffle prizes, and then Kenny was like, "Hey, save the last 3 because you're gonna do like John Ken Pole with them."
No way.
Yeah, like with the whole.
So you got to do the whole deal.
like do like yeah. It
Yeah.
was so fun. Yeah,
that's
and
cool.
it was
That's
like
so cool.
And you know what was even what was more fun too was like
that is so like
Kenny-
being immersed in the culture. You know?
It was, yeah. It was
Yeah.
just I mean, I can't like to me that was just as good as like the race.
Yeah.
Like how it all like the outcome of the race, right? It was like just immersing, like you said, immersing myself with the people.
Yeah.
And you know what was fun about it too was like when people were winning raffle prizes because we had like Pulakea hats. We had like plenty prizes.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah. Kelly sent a bunch of.
Yep.
Had
Yeah.
Tim go pick up a bunch
Yep.
of merchandise and send it over.
Yep.
And then Ozone sent a bunch of stuff. That's cool. Yeah, really cool.
People wanted I'm telling you, we picked the right color, right?
The black and
the
white.
the black hats,
Black
but, like,
sails on the sunset, baby.
and so that was really cool. Was the you know, just like people wanted to pick the. Are we still filming that? Or
That's
did it
okay.
die?
The GoPro can go down. We're fine.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so
We are only going to use a little bit of that footage for this. The rest is all cross.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. This
But
is
yeah,
our first multi-camera podcast, by the way.
I know. I
guys.
don't know I don't know what to do with my hands.
Like Ricky Bobby.
But yeah, so we had the award ceremony, and then but the post race like festivities, like with the raffle, like the John Ken Pole, that was so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And
It's cool that, you know, especially being, well, I mean, obviously, you know, you're a competitor, you've been around a long time, but I feel like them including you on what they're doing and like bringing you into that
yeah.
versus just making you a spectator.
yeah,
I think for the Japanese people, especially the paddlers there, having somebody outside of Japan coming in for them is probably an important thing.
yeah,
Because it validates what Kenny is telling everybody there, right?
yep.
So,
By the way,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I cut you off. Go, you finish. What
No,
you're
I
saying.
just
That
feel
was-
like I just feel like the more people that go there to do these races with them validates the sport and the message, like, you know, exponentially.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. You know, it's and this is like their big race. You know, like Kenny, you could tell him and his dad, this has been like a 10 to 15 year project.
Yeah.
Right. And perpetuating the sport. Kenny's got his paddle shop. I mean, you'll watch
Kenzo,
watch our other episode.
Hisano and Tim went and paddled the Kenzo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a couple days later, and he's got a Bradley traditionally rigged, all roped off, tied and done that we don't even do here in California anymore.
Hey, this non-alcoholic IPA actually tastes pretty good.
Solid, huh?
Yeah.
That's Sierra Nevada.
Shout out Damon.
Right out Damon.
Sierra Nevada.
I know, Damon. Why don't you throw some money on our podcast? I'm just kidding. But I'm not. But, honestly, seeing that there in Japan is pretty important, for me, because you don't see it a lot here anymore. There's not a lot of that here in California.
Yeah, no.
Some clubs still do it, but it's so put on the back burner that it's not really pushed out up front. You and I have always joked around about having one race,
one traditional style race
where you bring your spec boat.
Yeah.
And all the clubs can bring their spec boat, whatever it is. And it'll be a smaller version of a scorer race, but it'd be your spec boats and tied, traditionally.
Totally.
And go race it.
Yeah.
And it'll be a controlled course, fun,
And it'll be the World Sprints qualifier.
Maybe.
Every year.
Well, I'm not saying regatta, but what I'm saying is that, we do a longer course too, maybe.
Well, maybe you do regatta on one day and then a long distance race on Sunday.
7 or 8 miler, not a 14 or 15 miler, but right.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
but yeah,
I think it's pretty cool to see that Kenzo's doing that there.
Yeah, and I don't know, it was just so What's funny too, right? So Mallory, she's been to races over the years. She, and it was to see her kind of this is just another canoe race, Joe, fucking doing his, thing. I mean, it's not like that, but she was definitely just blown away, just from from a pure spectator. Right. She's a spectator, right?
Yeah.
But she's kind of
bro, I got to tell you, there's a picture of her that someone took.
Yeah.
And was posted on the VA Japan, I think, Instagram or whatever.
Oh, yeah?
And you guys are sitting next to each other. You can kind of see Hisano kind of in the shadow a little bit, but, you're laughing. She's looking at you in the smile and the laugh on her face is so I was oh, right on. This is, I'm so happy she's there experiencing this.
Mm-hmm. Not even that. We went to Australia for the World Distance Champs.
Right.
And she was okay, this is cool. But I don't know, you could tell that.
But what was different about that? Because you could see that picture. I have it.
Yeah.
She is
I think maybe
smiling and laughing from the soul, it's big,
Yeah, I mean, we actually didn't fully kind of, sit down and talk about it, but I could just tell she enjoyed herself.
Uh-huh.
And to the point where I felt validated that it was okay, yeah, we're here for your birthday and I did this race, but you got to enjoy this too,
Right.
And I think it was just the authenticity.
Yeah.
And it was intimate, but it was just, I think it was just, she talks about my family all the time where when the grandkids come over, or anyone, right? We're all about Trent, we say hi to everybody.
Yeah.
That walks through that door. Yeah, right? And the Japanese people are the same.
They are, yeah.
It's just that, the etiquette and the respect that we've been talking about, all episode long. I think she saw that again, and she just felt that it was real, it was authentic. It was just,
this is more than just racing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And lifestyle.
And then so to kind of bring it back to the John Ken Pole, right?
Right.
Post-race,
yeah.
It was just so fun because people there's this young kid. His name was Yotaro. He's like, we're talking like 22, you know, he's this aspiring
young
paddler,
guy. Yeah.
young guy,
Yeah.
like V1, you know, he's
Young
on the
buck.
V1.
Yep.
And, man, he was like, tomorrow I want to win John Ken Po because I want that hat. You know,
No
like
way.
he like wanted this hat so badly. And I was like, okay, I'm going to remember that one. And I really hope he, you know, wins this John
Did he
Ken
win
Po.
it?
He didn't.
Oh no!
But what I did was I just gave him my hat
Okay,
at the
cool.
end of it.
That's
I was
cool.
like, you know,
Yeah.
what, like, bro,
That's a-
I want you to have this hat.
That's the
Like,
ambassador thing to do, Joe.
and but it was just so fun, just the enthusiasm, like that joy, like
Yeah.
we've been talking about, like people just like, it's not even the hat, you know, it's more just like the interaction after a race with people, with the
Yep.
whole group, just
Yeah.
and it's was really cool to interact with Kenny. You know, and he's he's their champion.
Yeah,
right?
he's their champion.
He won the race, but
Yeah.
he's like, man, like I'm just thinking about like everyone finishing. You know, like, do we have everyone? Is
Right.
everyone accounted for?
It's a
you
Kelly
know?
and Will thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just
He's
like
a champion, and he's
Yeah.
also has to figure
Yeah,
out
so-
like, oh my God, is everyone in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you could just tell like he's relieved. Like we're finally, like, I mean, we were drinking beers before the race, but like the beers tasted better after the race.
Sure.
You know. So, but yeah, it was just race. I mean, yeah, it was cool to do the race, but like there was just something about the whole experience.
So, you know, we're an hour and 20. So to wrap this thing up,
Yeah.
because I feel like we could do another episode with Hisano and Tim and like drill them about things.
Yeah.
But for you, like just wrap it up in a small package. Upside, downside. And if there's no downside, or if there's, you know what I mean? Like, you know, what are the great points to take away from this whole deal?
I mean, just if you're like, let's say you want to do a race internationally, and you know, people think to do races like, you know, like a lot of our friends have aspirations to go race in Tahiti.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's Mecca.
That's
right?
to test yourself against the best.
Yeah.
Right. But that doesn't necessarily work for everybody.
That doesn't work for everybody.
No.
Right.
I like to see races in different landscapes. Like that's my thing.
Yeah.
I like seeing that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so this race is like perfect for it. It's honestly like, if I mean, just take the same model that I did. If you're trying to go on vacation, and I honestly think going when we did in May, like the end of May, is a great time to go to Japan, because early May is not a good time.
Right.
You're going right before the rainy season, even though it kind of was rainy. Not enough to where you really notice. Like it was like nice, easy climate. You know, it wasn't too hot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, use that model. Like if you want to go on vacation, but also enjoy a canoe race, especially if you're the kind of paddler that, you know, you're doing, you know, because it's not an easy course.
Right.
It's a very technical course.
Okay.
And it's, you know,
And it can be really, really dynamic. But
It's
it wasn't when you were there, but it could be very dynamic.
Yeah. And
So it's a lot of deep water uprising.
Totally, yeah.
And a lot of weird water movement.
it's a
around.
weird
Yep.
water.
Yep,
And,
yep.
I remember talking to Josh Creighton about, the Samoa trip last year, right? Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of deep water outside of the up
yeah,
here.
and us California paddlers, right? You know, we were so used to these kind of shallower, flat speedway kind of,
windy chop,
yeah,
close interval, fast
yeah.
moves.
And it's just a different dynamic where it's like you're
But
racing.
Not a lot
to,
of oomph. You know, it was different.
Yeah, it's just different, and just your it's very speed oriented.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yep.
And like momentum oriented.
Yep.
Get on the momentum of this person and try to hang on. Where if you want to break from that and you want to, go to a beautiful place and experience dynamic, heavy water.
Yeah.
This course offers that.
Mm-hmm.
And, but at the same time, equally, you get to enjoy just this culture and just this experience of like a whole weekend of these paddlers that are, paddling is somewhat like, I don't want to say new to them, but like it's a growing sport.
Yeah.
So it's very vibrant. Like it's ripe.
They haven't picked up all our bad habits yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to kill it.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
it's just I don't know. It's what was great about that race was like it humbled me at the same time. It like, I mean, every
Really?
race humbles you.
Okay.
I mean, like the first half I was kind of on vacation mode, and I did remember Kenny saying like, oh yeah, like fishing lines and it's technical and currents, and I remember him saying that, but I don't know if, I guess I didn't consider it as much until like I got like slapped in the face with it. And that's where it humbled me. It was like, yeah, like I'm fucking in the water, like biting, like gnawing off this fishing line. Like when do I ever do that in California?
Never.
You know what I mean? And so it took something like that to like wake me up.
What's amazing is that you got nailed the fishing lines, but no one else did.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I'm not saying anything that I shouldn't say, but what I'm saying is it's wild to see you. We'll see it in the video. You in the water.
Yeah.
Pulling fishing line out, and no one else pulls fishing line out.
So I told this. So Kenny was like, he hands me the microphone, and I was like, after the race, I was like, well, I guess I had to pay the sushi tax of all the sushi I've been eating
Costco
on this
tax?
trip.
Yeah.
I had to pay the fishermen.
Yeah.
But back to your kind of the ups and the downs of it. There's not a lot of downs. It's honestly like if you have like if you want to travel and just do something totally different, go do this race.
Yeah.
And I have a similar feeling about the Hong Kong Dragon Run that those guys do, and I wish I could do that, but
It's at a different time of year.
yeah, and that's in November, but I've always wanted to do that, and but that's another, like it's just and I honestly believe, brother, like 20 years from now, there's gonna be all these like, it's not like the gorge race isn't gonna be like there's gonna have Kenny's race, the Dragon Run, like paddling is gonna be accessible to everybody.
That's what I feel like too. I feel like this thing is going to branch into the tree, right? I feel like the trunk has grown, right?
Yeah.
We've grown it out of what we've done in Hawaii and in California, and we're starting to see these branches break out.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of like triathlon.
Right.
It's like triathlon where like, oh, like you're an Ironman, like you've done the Ironman, and it's like this big prestigious thing. But it's like, okay, like a lot of people are doing Ironmans now, but like
in different places in the world.
And then now it's like, there's like different Ironmans, and in like you can fucking do an Ironman in Abu Dhabi now. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And so I think I could see that happening where it's like, but you gotta give like the Kennys of the world like their flowers, like
100%.
like they're organized, like they are putting these races on for us to enjoy.
And they're inviting us to come. And I think that's a lesson to kind of really embrace, is the fact that it's not only Kenny. There are other places in the world that are inviting us to come paddle. And everyone should go out of their comfort zone and go paddle in places they don't know.
Back to that same conversation with Josh. It was like he was talking about, we're so used to our California waters, and it's like I challenge you guys to just try different water.
Right.
You know, especially like Molokai Hoi is coming up. Like
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
this year. Yeah.
And so
Is Lana Keela gonna go?
oh yeah, we're going.
Oh boy.
In fact, I was in the airport. Danny sends out a message to like a lot. Like there's a big, like, hey, like
We're going.
we're going. And so I was like, I'm fired up right now. Like,
Yeah.
this is great. Like, but that's where, and I'm mostly speaking to our California paddling community. It's like, we get so, kind of like, I don't know, like, I'm not trying to say we're like set in our ways, but like, go try out, like go other places and go race,
Yeah.
like, and that's kind of, I think that's what's great about what you and I have been doing this year, where it's like earlier this year I got to do the Koa Nui, right? And then that was the first time I've done that. And then, now it's the VOD Japanese National Championships.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Wild Buffalo.
But like,
Yep.
but those are two races I've never done before.
I
and we
see.
could
I see what you're
provide,
saying. Yeah.
we could provide insight for
Yeah.
our audience to,
Yeah. For other people.
yeah. And it's like, that race offers just so much more than just the competitive spirit. It's one of those things where like, you're gonna like, there was like Okinawan paddlers that flew in. There's just like,
Yeah, there are some
a lot of people
Haole folks from Okinawa because they're from the
Military,
base.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
military.
yeah.
Coming to paddle.
There's a paddler, I
That's
forgot
so
his
cool.
name. He was from like Oceanside.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's just Kenny's got a good thing going.
That's good.
But I'm telling you, like 15, 20 years from now, there's gonna be, like there's gonna be like a circuit. I can see that. Like
a traveling circuit
yeah.
for all the top
Like
guys.
you take like, and you look at like Ozone, right? Like they're
They're going
pumping
so
out canoes,
international,
and
yeah.
they're so in like so. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it unfolds.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think on that note, we should wrap it up. It's been an hour and 30.
not bad. Well, it's
Not
good.
bad.
It's good seeing you. I haven't seen you in a while, and
We purposely didn't talk. So anybody knows, we purposely didn't talk for a couple of weeks because we're trying to hold back all this stuff so we can have a genuine conversation in front of everybody. And
also too, like we're on way different time zones. I was like,
yeah,
even if I
can't
call,
believe
like,
you're still awake right now,
yeah.
considering you just got home 24 hours ago.
But like, yeah, I wanted to call you. I was like, I think it would be cool to do like a episode there. But I was
Yeah.
like, shit, like the Wi-Fi that we're staying. It was just there's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad. Yeah, I'm glad that we got to catch up and
Yeah, me too.
and
Happy you're home.
yeah.
I feel like we have a lot ahead of us here in the upcoming months.
Yeah, we got six. We're in the 6-man season.
And we got a ton of opportunity. Eric's been on board with Scora on a couple races now. So he flew drones at Rig Run, did a bunch of photography there, did a really, really good job.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we're going to kind of tie our hits to that and figure out how to get involved. And I know you'll be racing, but figure out how to do it, that way.
Yep.
And then Molokai, when it comes, I would love to follow Lana Keela across the channel. I think it'd be pretty cool to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that feels like a long time from now, but
It's going to come fast.
yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm going to practice tomorrow morning.
Yep, you better. There's guys chomping at the bit, Joe.
I know. Yeah. You're looking at one of them.
I know.
Take us home.
This is Broadcast Brothers. I'm Justin Faisongo. It's Jonah Holova'a. And thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Oh, wait. Shoes, brother. Aloha's.
Shoots.
Okay.